begin our module now on por and para. This is part 1. There are 2 words in Spanish for the word for. We have por and we have para. Now let's talk about the personal a. There's a very simple formula for when to use this. Whenever you have a verb followed by a person or people, you're going to put in the sound of a between them. For example, I see Pablo. This in Spanish would be veo a Pablo. So you can see that a literal translation in English would simply be veo and Pablo, veo Pablo. But because we have a verb followed by a person, Spanish will put in the personal a between them. So, veo a Pablo. How would you say, I don't see Pablo? No veo a Pablo. What's the verb to visit? Visitar. And how would you say, I visit? Visito. Now say, I visit my friend. Visito a mi amiga. Here again you can see that we have the formula in action. We have a verb followed by some type of person. In this case, my friend. So instead of visito mi amiga, you will have visito a mi amiga. Let's do this in plural now. How would you say, I visit my friends? Visito a mis amigas. To say every weekend in Spanish would be cada fin de semana. Literally, each end of week. Cada fin de semana. How would you say, I visit my friends every weekend? Visito a mis amigas cada fin de semana. What about saying, I used to visit? Visitaba. I used to visit my friends every weekend. Visitaba a mis amigas cada fin de semana. What's the verb to admire? Admirar. So how would you say, I admire my dad? Admiro a mi papá. I admire my dad a lot. Admiro mucho a mi papá. Notice the placement of mucho here. It's the same case when saying me gusta. So you'll have the verb, and instead of putting mucho or a lot at the end, as we do in English, instead it comes in here after the verb. Now either way you'll still be perfectly understood, but this placement of admiro mucho sounds much more natural. Do you remember the verb to respect? Respetar. It's very close, it's just that we don't have the C here in the spelling or in the pronunciation in Spanish. So, respetar. How would you say, I respect? Respeto. I respect everyone here. Respeto a todos aquí. Remember that I said when you have a verb followed by some type of person or people, here we have everyone. You will use the personal a. Now let's add in some modal verbs and extend this structure a little. Try to say this one. I would like to see everyone here tonight. Me gustaría ver a todos aquí esta noche. I have to call my boss later. The word for boss, if it's male, would be jefe, female, jefa. Let's use jefe in this example. Tengo que llamar a mi jefe más tarde. Here you can see that my boss is some type of person. And we have to call my boss, so Spanish will put in the personal a. What about I just called my boss this morning? Acabo de llamar a mi jefe esta mañana. How would you say I'm going to help Elena? Voy a ayudar a Elena. I'm not going to help Elena. No voy a ayudar a Elena. The verb esperar can mean either to wait or to wait for. So the for is contained within the meaning of the verb itself. How would you say, I'm waiting for my sister? Estoy esperando a mi hermana. So here we have, I am waiting for. This is our verb, followed by some type of person, my sister. So we get the personal a. What about saying, I was waiting for my sister? Estaba esperando a mi hermana. Now let's use the simple past. I waited for my sister. Esperé a mi hermana. In each case, you can see that it didn't matter if we were using the present progressive, or the past progressive, or the simple past. In each case, you still continue to put in the personal a. What about I'm going to visit my brother tomorrow? Voy a visitar a mi hermano mañana. I can't see Pablo now. No puedo ver a Pablo ahora. Now, so far, we've been working with people's names and also identifying them as a friend, or as a brother, or as a boss. But we've also been using things like everyone, which could be todos or todo el mundo. Anyone or no one would be nadie, someone, alguien. These are all considered or classified as people. So Spanish will put in or use the personal a with these. How would you say, I can't see anyone now, I'm too busy? No puedo ver a nadie ahora. Estoy demasiado ocupado or ocupada. I can't find anyone. No puedo encontrar a nadie. I need to call someone. Necesito llamar a alguien. Now, 99% of the time, the personal a will be used when it comes to people. However, it's also used when people talk about their pets. For example, I see my dog. This would be veo a mi perro. So you can see that the personal a is being used here the same as it would for a person, because your pet is something that you love, something close to you, and Spanish in a way represents this by including its use with the personal a. How would you say, I don't see my cat? No veo a mi gato. Now, just to be clear, you would not use the personal a with all animals, only pets that are close to you, animals that you love. Spanish give them this sign of respect or this sign of significance by using the personal a the same as you would do with a person. This also happens when talking about your country. For example, to say, I love my country. Spanish will translate this into amo a mi país. So obviously a country is not a person. However, just the same as a pet, it's something close to you, something important to you, something of significance to you, something that you love. So they will again give it this significance by using the personal a. So, amo a mi país. Let's say that you were from Spain. How would you say, I love Spain? Amo a España. Now let's imagine you're from Mexico. I love Mexico. Amo a México. Even something like, I miss my country. So, I miss would be extraño. How would you say the rest? Extraño a mi país. I miss my cat. Extraño a mi gato. What about I miss my cat a lot? Be careful with the placement here. Extraño mucho a mi gato. So, to summarize, the personal a 99% of the time will be used with some type of person or people. However, Spanish will also extend the same significance or the same courtesy to your pets and your country. Let's finish by exploring some other angles. How would you say, do you see Jose? ¿Ves a Jose? We don't see Maria here. No vemos a María aquí. They're going to visit my parents. Van a visitar a mis padres. They visited my parents. Visitaron a mis padres. They already visited my parents. Ya visitaron a mis padres. She called her sister yesterday. Ayer llamó a su hermana. If you chose to put ayer at the end, that's perfectly fine as well. It's just that you'll often hear native Spanish speakers put these kinds of time frames like tomorrow, yesterday, last night at the front of the sentence rather than at the end. So again, ayer llamó a su hermana. He doesn't want to see his family. No quiere ver a su familia. Why don't you want to see your family? ¿Por qué no quieres ver a su familia? The word for people is gente. And this is treated as a singular word in Spanish. So the people, la gente. In order to say, I like to help people, Spanish will actually put in the. So you will literally say, I like to help the people. How do you do it? Me gusta ayudar a la gente. As you can see, the personal a is a relatively simple concept in Spanish. So you have verb followed by some type of personal people, but also pets or your country. And there's a very simple formula for using it. Having said that, the personal a is also quite easy to forget. So it may take a little while for you to get used to it, and you will find from time to time you will forget to put it in. What we'll do now is join Elena for a drill. We're going to use the verbs of ver, llamar, ayudar, and esperar, plus many of the angles inside those verbs. We'll also use the present tense and modal verbs, the present progressive and past progressive, as well as the simple past, so a real mixture. And this should help cement the use of the personal a into your Spanish.
The personal A 30 question drill. Do you see Juan? ¿Ves a Juan? She was trying to help her friend. Estaba tratando de ayudar a su amigo. Why didn't you call someone? ¿Por qué no llamaste a alguien? I like helping my friends. Me gusta ayudar a mis amigos. I was waiting for María. Estaba esperando a María. They just saw a lawyer. Acaban de ver a un abogado. We had to wait for everyone. Tuvimos que esperar a todos. They helped a man to cross the road. Ayudaron a un hombre a cruzar la calle. I don't see anyone here. No veo a nadie aquí. Would you be able to help my brother? ¿Podrías ayudar a mi hermano? They are calling the police. Están llamando a la policía. We want to see María. Queremos ver a María. Are you waiting for your sisters? ¿Estás esperando a tus hermanas? I love my pets. Amo a mis mascotas. I didn't see your boss there. No vi a tu jefe allí. They said they were waiting for someone. Dijeron que estaban esperando a alguien. I'm going to help my dad this afternoon. Voy a ayudar a mi papá esta tarde. It was wonderful to see your father again. Fue maravilloso ver a tu padre otra vez. He's calling his parents now. Está llamando a sus padres ahora. We saw everyone at the party last night. Anoche vimos a todos en la fiesta. Thanks for helping my family. Gracias por ayudar a mi familia. We were waiting for your brother. Estábamos esperando a tu hermano. I wasn't able to see my friend Carolina. No pude ver a mi amiga Carolina. Where did you see the children? ¿Dónde viste a los niños? Did you see a lot of people there? ¿Viste a mucha gente allí? They're not going to help anyone. No van a ayudar a nadie. I don't need anyone. No necesito a nadie. They saw Pedro yesterday. Vieron a Pedro ayer. A teacher is helping his students. Un maestro está ayudando a sus estudiantes. A boy was waiting for his mother. Un niño estaba esperando a su mamá.